Hey, what's up? I just wanted to do a follow-up video on the regulation of this watch. This is the, let me bring it up here, the Zodiac Super Seawell 53 blue skin, or skin blue rather, is what they call this. And if you looked at my previous video where I was talking about regulating it, and actually did regulate it, but I couldn't show it because it's such fine work that I can't have a camera in between me, and trying to regulate that swan regulator, it's just would have been impossible, and I probably would have jacked up the movement trying to do so. But anyways, so I last adjusted it, and it's been running great. I've had this on since then. I last adjusted it. It's been approximately almost exactly, I think I was right around 9:30 or so as well, if I recall, but at most 10:30. But I think I'm pretty sure it was around 9:30 that I roughly made the adjustment and reset the watch. And right now, after that was the 10th, and today is the 16th. So 6 days, I use two apps to measure this independently, so I can kind of cross-reference and just verify. Just don't rely on one app to kind of base the recorded information on, right? So one of them is getting me plus 1.3 seconds a day, and the other one is measuring about plus 1.2. And right now, after 6 days, it's at plus 7 seconds. So quite good. Very happy with the results. Yeah, plus, just after 6 days, it's only 7 seconds ahead. It's been very stable. And let me take this off my wrist real quick. It's on a tropic strap, nothing special, but it's been hot, so I figured this would be a nice match with that. So yeah, gone from out of the box about plus 11 to plus 12 seconds a day. I had regulated it the first time and got it down to a pretty consistent plus 6 for about 2 days. I'm pretty sure it would have held. This movement's very stable, actually. The STP movement in here. It's got nice high amplitude, and the beat error is pretty much zeroed. And it's holding really great. And then I went back in and adjusted because I wanted to get it even better. And just off of that, basically, yeah, it's holding at about plus 1.2 to plus 1.3 seconds per day. So I am cool. I just wanted to make sure it was doing that before I gave this one a break and give myself a chance to wear another watch that I haven't worn in a while. So before I go, I just wanted to see where this is now, right? We're going to put this on the Timegrapher, and we'll do it dial side up first. Let's turn that off. And let's see what the readings show me. I just wanted to see how it compares to the readings I was getting after I adjusted it, and see where it holds since then, right? See if it's the same, or has it kind of moved or changed slightly. But this is looking pretty good, right? Usually it was showing pretty good high amplitude, 290 something, kind of high 290s up to around 300, sometimes a little bit above, but basically it hovers more or less around 300. See, so that's good. I wonder if it's picking up my voice. That's why the line's a little staticky. Let's give it a moment to stabilize. This angle is maybe not correct, but it really doesn't matter. It's got a pretty high, what do you call it? It's a smooth running movement. I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long day. But yeah, see, beat error is good. So it's kind of stabilizing here. I'm just trying to remember where it was at dial side up last time I did this. I mean, the case back was off, but it doesn't, that shouldn't matter. I should have referred back to my video before I did this, but I think this is about right. I think before I made the adjustment, oh God, I think it was at +3 or 4, or was it kind of zeroed out? Well, let's see where it's at. And then I can see where it is dial side down too. But not bad. If this is where it's supposed to be at, I don't know why it's kind of fuzzy right now with the sound. I mean, it's not like a clear line, but I'm not sure what it's picking up on. I'm just trying to remain a little bit more quiet just to see. I mean, hopefully it's not picking up on my voice. But it looks like it's cleaning up a bit more now. See, so the beat error is nothing to worry about, but look, this is a good amplitude. And -3, but I'm just saying, I wanted to say also that, you know, what the readings you get on a Timegrapher don't necessarily reflect what you're actually getting on wrist. That's the most important thing. It's a good baseline just to see where it should be at, ideally, but your watch is never going to be static, right? Not moving. So that really plays some factor into, you know, where the watch actually will perform at, right? Because when on wrist, it's going to be all sorts of directions and forces and you know, everything like that. Keep in mind also that once on the wrist, the watch will warm up a bit, right? So there's temperature variances as well. So, you know, being on this could get cold and not whatnot. You know, I would say these are good to see. At least check the amplitude. If it's really low, then there's something wrong usually. But you generally want to be as high as possible, but not too high, as I understand it. But I think generally if you hover right around 300, that's pretty sweet. And if your beat error isn't too far off, it should keep it very stable as well. These two numbers usually would, I think, when this is high, and of course this is zeroed out, as close as possible, then it will maintain accuracy more consistently, as I understand it. Now, of course, you can't deny the rate here, if it gains or not. That's your deviation, but that just basically tells you how fast or slow the watch is moving, not necessarily telling you how as much as if it's going to be very stable or not. Of course, this isn't a cost movement, but you know, just on wrist, I sleep with it. I go to work. The only time I take it off is when I go take a shower. But after that, pretty much put it right back on and have it for pretty much the rest of the day. That's how I wear my watches, and that's how I base off my performance and measure it. I mean, some people don't care, but for me, it's definitely a bonus when the watch performs accurately, and especially something that's you're not paying thousands on, such as a Rolex or Omega. Nothing against those, but you know, for me and at least where I'm comfortable paying, you know, high price. I mean, 1,000+ already is luxury for me, high luxury. So, you know, just to be able to get that from, well, I mean, technically this is an in-house movement, right? Fossil Group, the STP movement is their movement. And so Zodiac using it, I guess, is in-house, but it's kind of like Seiko, you know, like even citizen to some degree, right? You may not, it is in-house, but then other people use it too, or Hamilton and the Swatch group, right? For instance, like they have their Swiss edda movements, and Hamilton or Mito, or what was this under there? Alpina. They all use edda movements, and so they themselves, the brands themselves, I don't believe actually make the movements, right? But because they are under the Swatch group that owns or basically produces the Swiss edda movements, and I guess they all consider those in-house movements. But I'm digressing. Anyways, this is looking great, and just to show you that basically when on wrist or any other position, like I guess actually, let's see, we'll try dial side down, or technically backside up. That's how that would have been up here. That's how I adjusted the movement. But since it's down this way, it doesn't matter. It's still in that position. We'll see what it picks up. And I don't want this to be too long, but I just want to see how it changes. Oops, sorry, not the camera. I'm trying to remember what I last left it at. It was, I think it was around here. So I think either way, downside up or down, from what I recollect, this is pretty much where it was. It might have gone up or down. I think slightly down, maybe a second or two from my last reading after I just adjusted it. But regardless, pretty stable line now, you see. I don't know what's out with all that static before. Amplitude is too high. Again, it drops slightly, but it's usually between 290 and just a little bit above 300. So that's fine. Beat arrows looking great. And even though it shows minus something, from what I'm getting in my usage, and I always have all this hard data, the watch has been basically plus 1.2 to plus 1.3, right around there, depending on which app you're going with, but close enough, just above, slightly above a second per day, which is great. So I'm very happy with the regulation I did on this. And so some people question the quality and everything of STP. I don't know what to say, how long they've had these movements in. Of course, only certain watches under Fossil Group will have them, right? For the most part, unless I'm not sure if any third or micro brands use STP movements. I know they might use Silprise, but those are basically eddas too. But as I understand it, the STP is basically like an edda, another clone, but I'm not sure what they do differently. Sorry, not expert in movements, but that's just what I've heard or read. Probably mostly heard from other people on YouTube, watch reviewers that talk about it. But I'm just, even though showing minus something like 4, and I think on the other side it was more or less the same too. I'm definitely not getting negative numbers, which is great. I'd rather have it deviate in the positive, because I can just always hack the movement, wait, and then unhack it, and it'll be synced up again. Versus if it's slow, you hack it, then you got to advance the time to the next minute that it can sync up to, and then unhack it. It's just extra procedure, and then for me, you risk, let's just flip it back over. You kind of risk misaligning the hands, the minute hand when you reset it. And I like to have it perfectly aligned with the markers. And it's just a little off, I'll reset it and make sure it's stable and perfectly aligned. Just have one more look at the numbers here. Sorry, this is getting long. It was kind of boring, but I just wanted to talk about this watch, the regulation, how it's been going after I regulated it, compared to where it was, trying to at least talk it out on camera here from where I last left it as to where it is now. I think it's basically the same, but this looks really good. The amplitude dropped a little bit, but I wouldn't trip too much about it. Give it a moment. I think it'll probably go back up. Let's see if it does. And then I'm going to cut this and we'll talk about something else in another video. I got to do a review on this. I think I've had at least 2 weeks or just over that. I can't even remember when I got this. But I think wearing it straight, especially after regulated too, it's been, I have enough, I think, thoughts and experiences on this that I can give a pretty decent review on this. So look out for that. And let's see. It's going to hold at 268. 268 is still pretty good as far as I'm concerned. But I think what I've noticed most of the time, it does tend to hover closer to 300. I don't know why it's not doing it now, but this is not bad. So anyways, I don't want to blabber, on anymore. So hopefully, I don't know, this has been somewhat insightful. This is with my example, the way this watch, if you happen to buy the same model or another Zodiac with the similar STP movement. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is. Sorry. I'm just going to have to look it up online. But, you could possibly expect to get something similar to this. Getting that swan neck regulator really inside here is really cool. I don't know if anyone else that uses it other than Seagull, in their, at least in their ST, the 1901, the mechanical chronograph movement. The most of the modern, most recent watches that are using those movements, they've upgraded, I think, all the regulators to swan neck regulators. So, not only does it look good, because a lot of times those watches will have open case back display, because that movement is actually kind of cool looking. And you can see that new swan neck regulator, and it definitely helps with regulating, because the other way with pushing the lever, right, to go plus or minus is it's so easy to overshoot it, because once you start to feel the pressure, you might just all of a sudden just give, and then if you can see the movement, you've gone too far already. It's so incremental to try to push that lever. I just have to just touch and then let go, and then check to see if it's doing anything. Just lightly touch and let go until you start to see it move in the direction. You don't want to overdo it. Then you got to go back and forth. And sometimes that happens with, I know the other movements, sometimes they have the screw instead. You got to get that tiny screw to adjust it. That's a little bit better. It's not as easy for you to overshoot it, because you don't have a lever that can just freely just go whoosh. You just have to do a tiny twist of that screwdriver on that screw and some other movements, and that helps. But what's good about the swan neck regulator is because of the way that screw head pushes on that lever. You can do bigger movements that translate to very small, because there's all those threads, very small movements on that lever, and so you can really fine-tune it, which apparently I've done. So anyways, it's going on 20 minutes, and that's it. Thank you for watching, and catch you in the next. Bye.